How is this experience playing such an important factor, do you think, right now?
Listen, I had mentioned in our pre-show, actually, I was like, yeah, no surprise that they're not really getting many victory rounds, right? They usually play the mid-ground, yada, yada, yada. Game 2, they're on height, and they get the victory round. So I'm pretty sure they were just like watching. They were like, yeah, just going to shut this guy up real quick and show him a victory royale. So quickly they put themselves in the second position. But, man, Bucky, Peterbot, and Macwa, though, playing out of their minds as well. Didn't see like anything out of them in day 1, and then they come out day number 2, victory royale first game, and then a second place on the second game. So they are playing out of their minds.
Yeah, I think you know, go back to Yomzo as well. You have certain players in certain trios who can come through with that clutch factor we talked about a ton and get loads and loads and loads of points with the likes of these eliminations. And to have 8 on your own, I think he had like 5 eliminations in the space of like 3 or 4 minutes, which is unheard of. But you have someone who can do that in a team. It makes a massive difference when it comes to the leaderboards, particularly in this kind of format.
100%, 100%. And of course, I mean, I got to talk back once again. We got Cease, Cold, and Elite, right, being eliminated there early. And we're seeing it again, right? These trios that were doing so well in day 1, they're just not getting that traction here in day number 2. But it's okay, right? Like, these are just the first 2 games of the day. We have another 4 out ahead of us. So they really need to pick up the pace. Something has to go. And honestly, guys, there's a lot of pressure on these trios, right? Especially kind of coming in and saying, well, this is a Grand Royale. There's a lot of money on the line, and this is a 2-day format, which for some of these trios, they may not necessarily be used to or as experienced with. And now you're telling me that you're kind of like layering double points on top of that? There's a lot of pressure, right? So I'm kind of hoping to see that these trios will pick up the pace. They'll say like, okay, those first 2 games, let's pretend those didn't happen, right? This is a 4-game format. Let's try to do something right here, right now. But you guys heard the battle bus, which means we got to kick it back over to my better half, Monster, D-Face, and Reese Hub. Let's get it, boys.
Thank you, Zeke. It looks like, honestly, we've reached somewhat of an intersection here, right? Like, we're at a crossroads right now. The standings have changed tremendously. None of the teams that we started off with are playing up to the caliber that we basically expected them to carry into today, right? Because now there's a ton of new teams at the top, Reese.
There's been a whole new switch up. The top 4 is completely different at this moment. Obviously, we did have Zlem, TK, and Chucky being up there after that first day, but they've started to drop down into 6th place so far. DJ, Nosh, and Yomzo. After that huge pop-off from Yomzo, they didn't even, today, haven't even managed to make it into a top 5, but just fragging ability is so good, and that's just carried them up into that top number 1 slot.
11 eliminations after that weight they carry here in the final is just incredible. Allowing them to build up a 10-point lead, I mean, it's not much, but considering where they were yesterday and sitting where they are now, this is a big way to jump back up. And I can't believe we have 4 games in front of us. And, you know, we already have new teams to look out for, potentially root for now. We start approaching.
To be on your feet, I must say, and I feel like he's been getting a lot of respect from the players in the NA East region across this later half of the year, and it shows why right now after that incredible pop-off.
At this point, you have to put respect on the players. There's no way, you know, no way other to cut this pie here. I did want to talk about, though, just talking about, said like new names popping up, but the standings are actually all veterans. Skittles, Justice Users, Duke, Miro, Booga, D-Roller, Speggle, Charlie, Commandments at the stretch, Slam, TK, Chucky, okay, maybe, but no, not really. Vet still too. Cease, Cold, Elite, everyone inside our top 10, literally, have been here well over a year competing. These are our most consistent players that we've had in this scene. Some of them, you know, dating back as early as the beginning, right? The conception of actual competitive. So to have them inside the day 2 format thriving, I mean, I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, we just saw their jumpers. Fortunately losing both of his teammates, so he's down to a solo. We'll check back in with that in a minute to see exactly how that happened. As they move back over to the north of Risk Real, Mudsy's fight, getting the shadow, a fight that we saw happening a ton yesterday. Both the teams not able to really climb back up the leaderboard too much because of it. See almost 3 builds left onto Muzzy. He's going to connect some of the shots, but traded back in return. Minor is starting to go down on his team. Savage now also really low on the opposite side of the wall. They've got the down at this moment, but Shadow up above. He's looking way healthy. He's hitting the white tags. He's going to start to get in that progression, but is he going to be able to hit the 1v2? His teammates now there with him. Spray comes through the finish. That's important. That's a 4-point swing. Can they start to aggress onto the walls and really got to finish this fight quick, given they have almost no materials? These other teammates are starting to heal up big time.
Now, mind you, every team still has a realistic chance to go ahead and jump back into this. And once you start getting towards that top 10, that's where the real money kicks in. So either way, you want to be taking the best fights possible all the way through to the end. And this is looking good right now for Shadow. Beautifully done there. Right camera. The proper angle here. It's going to work out very, very well. And they're going to get the full team wipe onto Mudsy's team there in Udent. Well played for them.
Well played indeed. They knew that they needed to keep being aggressive at that moment, keep pushing on in to ensure that fight didn't allow them to heal on, use the big pots that they had, which now means that they've netted them for their inventory, which is very, very nice. They got the leaderboard on the far left. Just to note that this leaderboard is live, so it's not the leaderboard that came into the game. This is exactly where the players are on the leaderboard right now. Slack, Saker, and Jack in 263, the team that we're currently watching, looking to make a run for their second FNCS championship after winning in Season 6. I want to see
People don't realize how hard it is to win a singular FNCS, let alone win 2. And as we've seen for some, 3 upwards of 4 major tournaments, like we saw in EU. But look at this, a highlight here from Day as he falls, sniped out of the sky there.
What's that aim? That must be DaRellsWorld's team, right? Just spraying them out of the sky from the cami split. This happens all the time with the bus paths that go from players jumping out on the west and they fly over that cami split. It has such a high elevation, it gives them so many good angles to spray them out of the sky. Very Dogs has had a really rough time as of this season because of that change, and right now 2 knocks out of the sky on Day's team. That was honestly, that is rough for them, and it tells a lot about the aim on DaRellsWorld's team.
Yeah, mega unfortunate, honestly. It's touchdown to be, you know, that setback, if you want to call it that. And there's a world where that becomes unrecoverable, right? Like if they decide to get the full thirst and then push in, like they might as well hunt for the solo at that point and then take the loot, right? Like take the loot from Dirty Dogs. Like there's no other reason not to if they can gather up together.
That's the common strat. That's what that generally goes on there. The strategy's not so common though. Driving the car. Hey, I talked about this yesterday. Driving the car into their base, blowing it up, trying to ruin the builds. They're really starting to dwindle away at the builds down below. We see AV with the chili chug splashes, which means that they've managed to pick up a llama, which means that they have a ton of ammo to sit and spray. Almost definitely more ammo than materials of Donnie's team down below, which means that they're just gonna be able to stay up, keep their distance. And man, if you're Donnie's team right now, you're pushed, trapped all the way down below in the basement. There's really literally nowhere you can go from here, and you can see 10 builds dwindling away.
Yeah, they're starting to gas out here. Avian Company as well, though, second guessing of whether or not all the ammo they put in is worth it. Once there's, I was gonna say, once they start seeing the wood, then things will change. But for a second there, and mind you, Knifer's the one holding on to all the big mats there, guys. So he's gonna go down first. This is a big, big knock here. They got the tags they're looking for. They get the full thirst there and the elim. They want to secure the loot here. Can they get to it? Doesn't look like it. Instead, they're gonna pressure Donnie into the corner. He's trapped, but AV gets punished.
Bit of an overextend, same with Eden there, but junked off. I don't think it's going to happen too well. Eden picks up simple here. Donnie now fully finished. That's a full trio wipe for them. 3 eliminations coming through. Their surge ticked off. A little bit of a late rotate to go through, but as long as they can get the materials back, they should be okay. There's a lot of metal in this spot, at the dish spot, the dinky dish right to the south, their drop spot. They should be okay for that. If they focus on that, then dip on out. They've got a good game ahead of them, I can tell.
Huge defensive capabilities there from Donnie. Did a great job there, but not enough to maintain here. Nosh, on the other hand, getting pressured here on their rotate. They're dead set in the river here. About 2 or 3 trios can potentially have sightlines onto them. They're going to be one of the more southern teams, though, that we see here. I'm curious, is that Booga and crew still at the Misty Meadows? If so, this could be a disastrous game for them because all the other teams are set up on the mountain. So if they're still sitting and lurking behind, then I don't know if things are going to look too hot for them because the surge is surely coming, right? We have 88 players up right now.
I think so, and I think it's time for our every broadcast South Zone. What you need to do if it goes to a Misty Zone, If you're on the south side, you're absolutely chilling because you can tag a ton of the people who start rotating past. But that's later on. That's when it comes to the second